Doing good on this Friday. Told you I was coming through. So we're going to see what we're going to do. See about to get into. The plan is to be on for at least an hour and a half. We'll see. See what he done now. Let's see what we got. We're going to be on. We got some stuff to get on. We're going to talk about some stuff. Put this thing on real quick. Okay, that is on. And I have to get back up out of here. Talk about it, be about it. We got some stuff to talk about, so we're going to get on it. I got some good questions to ask you, but whoever comes through, I'm going to ask, or we're going to put this thing on. So let me get this thing on. Let me get this thing working. Everybody's doing good. Hey, how you doing? Welcome aboard today. How you feeling? Tell me where you coming from. How you doing? Trying to get my thing right. When I get this thing right, it'll be on. How you doing? Okay, UK too. What part? Where you at? Where you at? Tell me where you at. Okay. Welcome. Okay, welcome back to back. Yeah, I appreciate that though. Well, people do come on this channel though. Let you know. Um, they do come on here. I feel honored and I feel appreciated. And people come and go. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes on. Talk about a lot of stuff, but we're gonna get into it though. I gotta get my topic up and I gotta get my thing going. Once I get everything going, then it'll be back to grooving. So, what part are you from? Where you at? Holla. Thank you, Melody Love. Good to see you too. Cozy CB, because I don't know if you a man or a woman. I don't say I don't say the first one. I don't say the second one. So what's up, CB? All right. I get some topics going up in here though. Trying to get everything going if I can. Thank you. Where you coming from today, Melody Love? Thank you so much. Please hit them likes up and feel free to tell me what I know the country or the place you're at. So just feel free to holler. Let everybody on here though. I just got on. All right. Trying to get everything going so I can get my question up. It's a Friday, could be morning, afternoon, or day, or early Saturday, depending on where you are in the world. Thank you for making this one of your places and your stops. And we're going to get into things in just a second. Just get my computer's got to load up. It's taking its time. So I feel free and honored that people are coming through today. And welcome aboard. So I like to come through and see new faces and places and expressions. So here we are. Hope everybody's having a good day. When this thing finishes circulating, still see more people coming through. That's all good, all good, all good, all good, all good. And it's starting to come into vision. It's taking a little time though. So I got to get everybody in here. So feel free to tell me something about yourself. If you want to do some conversing, feel free. And let me know what's up. I got to send out my flyers and my stuff though once this thing comes through though. So let's see what we got. What's on tap for the weekend and what we working with. This thing need to come and let me hit that thing real quick. Let's see if I can get it. Let me see if I can get it. Oh, these things are acting up now. Why is this thing doing this? I'm trying to get this thing right and it won't cooperate with me. And let me get this thing real quick. If I can get this thing started. Come on. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? How you doing? I got a lot of UK in here today. This is all good. What? What's going on? Okay. How you doing? This thing is acting stuck. It's not letting me do anything. What part of UK you from? What's happening? My thing froze. Nobody gonna care when your thing freezes. I'm like, I'm trying to get this other screen going. It's not acting right. Doing okay. Just trying to get my computer part going. It's acting all froze. But what part of UK you from? Okay, West London. Okay. I've been kicking it mainly in central London when I go to visit. So I usually go. Tell me what's it like there on that part. I must get to a spot that's a little bit different. Do tell. Yeah. It you know what? The weather is feeling kind of cold right now. It is definitely feeling cold. Yeah, I do. I've been doing it since I was a kid. So it's like in my DNA. And kind of like if you want to go somewhere, you just do it. Well, if I don't think about turbulence, if I don't think about turbulence, it's actually cool. Actually, when it first starts, but once I'm up, and depending on what I'm doing. So if I'm watching a movie, it don't bother me. I watch movies, I listen to music. Sometimes I like to get a window seat. Just put myself in a spiritual frame of mind, spiritually. I like to like that the Lord's got me in my destiny, so I don't like to get into a situation that I'm not cool. That's how I think. Well, you say you live in West, so um, been there. Obviously, obviously, uh, Big Ben. Obviously, the big bridge, and with the if you ever go there in the nighttime with that purple, when they have the carnival, like they have the Ferris wheel, that's the big attraction. So the central part, there is a walkway where there's Lady Diana where she walked. I think she jogged or ran through a particular section. So there's a whole section. Okay, well, where you leaving from to go to Frisco? You been to Frisco before? Get that Golden Gate Bridge. I'm trying to still get this thing up. It's not acting right, but it's gonna take its time. Okay. Yeah, I know about the time difference. I've flown from the west to the east. I know exactly what that's like. And you don't think that it's that crazy until it's a like a all it's kind of like an all day thing. It can be crazy, and then you got to get used to the weather and the vibe. Yep, yep. I had one that was like 6.5, something like that, 7.5. Because I had to leave West Coast to go back to New York State. It was you going cross country literally. So it's different. It's different. It's different. I've been on a plane ride, so I don't know why I'm getting so much static here today though. This thing is like acting all stuck. I don't know why it's all like that today though. Some days the thing is different. Some days you get on here and you got no static. Today it's more static. But I got more likes today, so go figure. And if you keep talking, we should have a good day. I gotta hurry and put this thing on if it come on. I gotta get this question up if it lets me. No, it's just because on my end, I'm trying to like get the I'm having a little uh I'm trying to get my questions up and the stuff is that the crew's acting real sluggish. You're not hearing static, it's just that I'm having they've been unraveling. That's nothing new. They've been unraveling. I mean, Harbaugh, did you even Stephen A. Smith, who's not even the biggest football knowing knowledge cat, 17 games where Harbaugh's been there and they didn't blown leads of at least 10 or more points. That's been unraveling. Uh Lamar Jackson's best is getting wasted. It's really getting wasted. He got the wrong head coach. They're trying to turn him into Kyler Murray or something. I'm like, y'all got to do better by this guy. This guy is one of the best quarterbacks, easy the last 30 years, two-time league MVP, you know. But it was one thing when he didn't have other aspects to his repertoire, and they was like almost running like sandlot plays for him. But he's been there, and they just are not doing right by him. So I don't like. They have no defense. They're missing so much fundamentally. And I just think it starts with the coach. It should have been his last year 2 years ago, as far as I'm concerned. When they lost that game to Kansas City, he should have bought out then. He hasn't gotten any better. So, what's happening? How you doing? Yeah, because Jim, like, I'm going to tell you this about Jim. Jim may have came up short with the 49ers, but Jim gets most out of his talent. He got Herbert looking very if you watch the Chargers, Herbert isn't making the same. He's doing down checks, not making the same mistakes. Winning the nip tuck close games. Harbaugh's supposed to be able to do that. Harbaugh used to be able to do that when Ray Lewis and Ed Reed and Flacco. I don't know why he can't do it no more though. But somewhere along the lines, it's almost like that turkey forgot to coach. I think he got to go. I think they're squandering. Jim with Michigan and I like, but I'm looking at the Chargers. They're looking pretty good though, so we'll see though. I think I got everything now. I think it's starting to come into view. We will see. I got to start streaming this stuff so I can get this out to other people. So hold on just a second. Okay. We're gonna get this thing out. I gotta get this thing out ASAP. So hang on in there. Yeah, I did like Jim better because I think John just be choking. I don't know why I keep saying you're not connected. I didn't see them on no cover of the magazine. I'm hoping not. But then again, I seen how his coaching career is going in North Carolina. He need to be on all the tabloid gossip rags he can be to let people forget he's a professional coach. Because that's really where his team sucks. They're not that good. Let me get this thing real quick. What's up? What's up? How you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. And I am back. I've been sending out my notifications to let people know that I'm on through my various platforms. So that's why if you saw the thing circling the loop, that's what it was. But I'm back. Yeah, well, yeah, Belichick ain't got anything else going on. I mean, what else he gonna do? The team ain't that good. They're not that good. And, he's going back to college, going back to school, you know. How you doing, Charlene? Welcome aboard. Glad to have you on here today. Hope you can hear me okay. I think I didn't send everything out with all the notices. I think I did. I believe I did. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think everybody got what I was going to send out. So we should be good to go. So feel free to ask questions and let's get it going. I don't mess with Us Weekly and none of them the magazines no more, but I already know that that's been his whole main thing. And that's why he's in North Carolina. And you should know how far he fell off because he can't even get a job nowhere. The NFL won't touch him with a 10-foot pole. And he's so close to having all the records, but somebody don't want him having the records. I'm just saying. I'm just looking at it for what it is. I don't know what we're going to do. Go ahead. Feel free. I am here for at least almost 2 hours today. Who had the best short-term hype in hip hop? Mace. Good question too. Good question. As you know what, I'm gonna use that for a future one. Thank you. Because Fabulous to me was always like a broke version of Jay-Z and Diddy. Mace got it right though. Fabulous could flow better than Mace, and he had that New York thing, but he just was corny. He felt like a cat that was looping inside of a loop. And I only like it when he hit to me or somebody doing his hooks. I never did find the hype about Fabulous. Good question that you asked me, though. I'm going to write that down, too. Thank you. That's what I like about when you come on, Charlene, because you be giving me future episodes of stuff that I'm going to use. And it's funny you say that because he never really blew up. He was East Coast all the way. Now, let me answer this question by Timmy T. Are you witnessing a player and judge that can only be described? First of all, please don't say that because Barry Bonds was the greatest baseball player I ever saw. First of all, Barry Bonds was 400 before anything. Okay, so before the second part of his career, he was already. No, Aaron Judge is not better. Is not Barry Bonds. Some days you get on here and you got no static. He's a great player. I'm a big Yankees fan, but he ain't no Bonds. He ain't no Bonds. To be Barry Bonds, you got to have to do things in a way that of a certain magnitude. You have to have been dominant. He's not dominant in the sense that I say like a right-handed. No, no. If you wanted to compare Albert, I mean, if if Judge gets it together, can he be a version of Albert Pujols? Bonds is a once in a lifetime. So let me put this into perspective for you. I don't know if you watch all that smoke, but Daryl Strawberry was on with Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson, and he said that Bonds is the greatest player he ever saw. And Strawberry knew a thing or two. He said he played with him. You know. The Studio 54 in a blowout. Come on now, that's not. All due respect, you asked me one great question. The other one is like a duh. There is nothing that was like Studio 54. Chic made Freak Out behind it. I mean, that is an iconic song. I know where you're going with disco. Yeah, it was beyond wild. They make Diddy parties look like romper room. They make anything R. Kelly got such with that. I mean, as a matter of fact, for all I know, Epstein, Weinstein, any Steen was probably stinging up in there, as far as I know. I mean, yeah. I mean, it was debauchery central, and that was in 76, 77, 78. So I mean, they did everything. Freaky deaky, eeky, eeky. And I read books on it, and I knew about Mick Jagger's ex-wife, Bianca Jagger, and all that craziness, and Andy Warhol, and Michael Jackson was in there, Steven Tyler, Donna Ross. You could imagine. And they was picky about how they let go through. So I mean, it was wild. It was Caligula, Freakula, Dracula, all that stuff goes on, you know. Yeah. It was very beyond wild. How you doing? Christy Wright, thank you for coming on. Appreciate you. Where you coming from? Yeah, but Cal Riley's the MVP this year. I'm not even gonna go into discussion about that. I don't know what Michael Jackson did. I like to think he didn't, but I don't know. And I do watch Unique Mecca. I ain't heard his name in about 2-3 months. After the Diddy verdict came through, I haven't been watching his stuff. Thank you so much. Where you coming from, Christy? Right? Appreciate you. Thank you. But obviously when Michael got his hair burnt, he was on stuff, and understandably, and that was a turning point. And I don't know. Nothing would shock or surprise me. Nothing. Nothing. Joe wouldn't have a chance to know because Joe was messing with the girls. Okay. Joe was so busy trying to keep up with Jermaine and Jackie and them that he had no time to know what anybody was. He made sure Michael's instrument was taken care of. He obviously knew where the the Brinks trucks was. He knew where to do, but he wasn't. I don't know what this is. And Carnelo, whoever you is, you got to go. I can't deal with no trolls today. We're not going to deal with trolls today. We had a good time up in here. We don't be dealing with troll behavior. Be making nasty faces. You the same. I hope to see you again. Hope we'll get to talk again. And I appreciate the people taking the poll question. Do you think freedom of speech is being messed with? Because I want to address that. So we are live today, and we're going to get into a whole lot of stuff. All right. She sound like a crackhead. That's what I say about that. First of all, I want you to come back and tell me more about yourself. Mariah is acting like a diva. Sometimes she don't take her meds, so sometimes she talk crazy. You can't take her too serious. She look like something's off with her. I mean, realistically, she still sucks live on stage. Looks, I think she's had one of the greatest careers ever. But I am not trying to hear somebody who made a living off of something borrowed, something blue off of remakes and samples, because that's the cookie trying to grab the crumb. Okay, you bit off of you bit, and yeah, who is remaking her songs? I mean, she wasn't exactly the most original songwriter. Um, I gotta look into that. Culpepper. But that's a good question because Jeff Garcia did have a long career, but he was a second tier quarterback. So that's the reason why it don't hurt my eyes when you said that. Because some people might forget how good Dante was. She did a whole living off that. First of all, Mariah, when we belong together, she took parts of songs. She's not an original artist. I'll Be There was the one that got her behind when she did MTV Unplugged, where people thought, okay, she can sing live back then. Uh Emotions sounded just like Best of My Love from Earth, Wind, from the Emotions. No. How he gonna make him? A receiver never makes a quarterback. They work in tandem. It never goes like that. I know where you're going with that. That's like someone saying that Rice makes Steve Young. No, because the quarterback has to be the most important player. Now, a receiver can be better than a quarterback, but a quarterback will have longer life. Look at Kirk Cousins. He's got a long life. Russell Wilson, he got a long life. Do they necessarily deserve to keep getting jobs? No, but they had moments. Receiver is only as good as who's throwing him the ball. And you don't usually see receivers lasting as long as the quarterbacks. So now, that's true. But still, Dante had to put that ball there. Dante was good for a window. He had a window. He had a window. You know. I know what you're saying because I was big on Randy Moss. Randy Moss was probably the most gifted receiver I ever saw. But he had to have the right quarterbacks. Him and Brady, yeah, that chemistry. It has to go syncopation. It has to be. Because the reason being to why I say that, because when Moss was with the Raiders, it wasn't happening. That was like the old folks home. Oh, really? We reaching now. Shakira by default, because that's not really Beyonce's specialty. She can do it, but that's what Shakira does. But that's not something I really think about. Because Beyonce didn't jack Shakira plenty of time. But anyway, yeah, back to the Mariah thing. Mariah Carey is tripping. She is straight tripping. What's happening? How you doing? Thank you for coming through. Welcome on Friday. I think I picked the right day to get on here, so I'm glad. I had to step out last week, but I'm here this week, so I'm not gonna go out for another hour and a half. So if people want to talk, we gonna definitely fill it up. It's a good day. It's a good, having a good day, and I'm glad to have people coming through. That makes it even more worth the while. So appreciate everyone coming through. Thanks, man. They want me to spend the new Mariah. There ain't nothing to listen to. I just got through telling Charlene about it. I heard the mess that Anderson Paak gave her. It ain't nothing there. She just going through the motions. And the sad part is she's not doing it as a stylist. She's trying to sound hip. She's still trying like she's 25 at the club. Mariah it's just basically doesn't really evolve. But she got money to burn to put out whack records, so whatever. That's how I look at it. You ain't gonna want to spend it. You ain't gonna want to spend it. And what I heard wasn't sounding like much of nothing. Her best days are clearly behind her. Look, I give her prop. She shut the haters down 20 years ago. We belong together, emancipation, Mimi. I give her that. And she been riding off of that, but yeah, that's the problem. And they're nothing to keep up with. Because Sabrina Carpenter, it's like updated broke Nancy Sinatra, the Bears. Because the Raiders suck. I mean, Geno can throw, but they can't put no points up. If the Bears, because the Raiders are basically like Dallas, so I think the Chicago should win. Oh God! Well, back in the day, there was a horror movie. Drama usually worked though. Drama or horror. Because I remember watching horrors with Buddy back in the day, buddies. Drama we got to be something that's kind of like war related or something, but suspense horror tend to work. I had a funny story about that because back in the day, my grandmother had her furnace worked on. This was in Virginia. I mean, my buddies were there, and then the cat that was working on the furnace, we was messing with him. We watching movies in the living room, being all making noises and tripping. So, unfortunately, unfortunately. So, again, if you watch my videos, I did a video about that. It's on YouTube. I talked about that. Talked about Kyler Murray is always he should have been like an Allen Iverson of quarterbacks. He is always herky jerky. The offensive line sucks. He throws bad picks. Marvin Harrison dropping balls. And the Seahawks have a tendency to kind of let you stick around and make that game a lot closer than it should have been. Oh, you can pick any black hero you want with that title because it fits obviously the past, you know. I mean, you could do the whole thing about Black Lives Matter last 12 years. From Trayvon Martin to George Floyd. Kyler Murray, because Bryce sucks. And Carolina don't look. They won 30-0. It wasn't because of him. I watched that. And he don't wake up to like week 12. He's a broke version of Kyler. Kyler got something, but Kyler got to stop playing the Xbox, and he got to get a coach that gets in his behind and dig some out of him and make him play like he's supposed to. Because Kyler got skills. Kyler he should be getting the kind of love that Baker Mayfield's getting. He should be a lot better. I don't trust Bryce. They benched him last year, remember? He sucked. And he was looking bad already. Look bad already. So, but hey, I mean, Carolina ain't trying to win nothing. Arizona ain't trying to either. It was a soggy, sorry butt game that got made to look a lot better because the Seahawks let their guard down. Poochie missed that field goal, and then Arizona got back and woke up and made that game a lot closer. Because you got some sellouts. And and to me, they sold out, they ignorant, and they don't know the totality. See, a man like that disrespects George Floyd. A man like that disrespects Dr. King, disrespects Michelle Obama. Disrespectful. And you know what? What they don't know is this. Malcolm X said it best 60 years ago, 60 years ago. He said, the media will have you feeling sorry for your oppressors. They become the victims. This is what has transpired. And some of the ones that are doing that is because they got this notion that they go along, get along. They're trying to sound good for their bosses, just like Stephen A. Smith. They're trying to sound good for the boss. Old boss, you know. When someone disrespects you, your identity, they downplay the fact that we can go 400 plus years in this country. 1865 emancipation, but it was really 1964 where you had a real Bill of Rights, 65 for your vote, and 67 to marry interracially. So think about it. Really, you've had 60 years of freedom. One black president, one black female vice president. And you've had what? 3 Supreme Court justices. You look at the totality of leadership and the positioning, and well, see, that's what you do when you sell yourself out. But you got to go with what makes sense to you, not because you are succumbing. You'll never have all the money and you'll never have the love, you know. So I don't, I come from the perspective of not the eyeball test, the logical test, and the reality test. Because the turkeys can flip on you any moment. But you got to have your soul and your mind. If you don't have your soul and your mind, you'll get shucked and jived. And that's what some turkeys want. But I'm not a believer in that mess. So I don't play that. But some people do. So more power to them. But you won't find that on this channel or where I'm at in any perspective. It's not worth it. And I don't and the thing is, if you speak a certain way, I'm gonna perceive you a certain way. So I'm not gonna sit there and sugarcoat stuff and take that mess. I ain't with that. But that's what they gotta do. But yeah, I feel like they sold their soul. And if that's what makes you feel good, but one day you're gonna have to wake up and see the light. One thing you do understand, you don't have as many so-called friends and stuff. Who might that be? Who might that be? Who might that be? Because when you start saying the greatest, if you're talking about who I think you're talking about, oh God, I got a feeling who this is. If only I co-sign that mess. Any one of them. Any one of them. Cause Nat Turner, it all fits. Well, Trouble World. I wouldn't say Young Kid. I'd say Trouble World. Trouble World. Black and Proud and Trouble World come to mind. Because I used to live in Hampton, Virginia. Newport News actually had a street named after him, which is crazy how they do that. Well, like I said, you almost on your own on this, and in this form, you're definitely on your own. No people I associate with do not give T Swift no love. Greatest of blandness. Okay, if you said the greatest of the bland, I'll give you that. She's middle of the road to me. She's milk toasty. She's soulless and doesn't do anything for me. But I give her business props. I will give her props. She got an audience built in. She knows how to balance between doing country and pop. She's got adult contemporary. She's got enough balance where she plays the cards right. She has an audience. I just don't feel it. That's all. I don't hear it. I just think she's milk toasty and just blood to me. When it comes to music, you gotta move me. I'm very funny about my music. And, I understand the appeal though, but I don't get it though. Mm-mm. See, if you told me you thought Gaga was the most talented one, I get it too. I give you that if you said Gaga. Because I know Gaga, despite all the shenanigans and all the antics, she can flat out play and she can do melody and stuff. I'm not making it about race because I'm gonna tell you something. If an artist is great, they're great. Okay, I don't care what. First of all, let me tell you something. I don't play that. I like music. Period. Yeah, obviously I'm more black artists overall more. I'm not gonna even lie about that. But if artist is great, I will give it up. But if you suck, you suck. And they're whack black acts, there's whack white acts. And I'll be honest about that. But Taylor Swift don't show me nothing. She just remind me of somebody's elementary school teacher who got an acoustic guitar out, strummed a couple chords, and people caught on, and she just happened to put a couple dollars behind it. I don't hear the hype. You know, she ain't Joni Mitchell. She ain't Joan Baez. Okay, so I'm just saying, you know. But they always had kind of acts like that. Pretty much with the you remember the with the raisin box, the white chick on the with the grapes and the raisin box, and she smiled with the red hat, that raisin. That's what she remind me of. I had an elementary teacher like that. I remember that woman too. She's like, oh, and I mean, that's what it remind me of. Cause it's how is it? It has no sex appeal. It has no sexy to it. It has no because like, and let me address that. You got to have some kind of appeal. Men gotta want you, and the women gotta like. No one is talking about Taylor Swift's drip, the flow. She just milk toasted, you know. So you gotta have something. And it's just very run of the mill to me, you know. But what do I know? But I'm a soul brother from back in the day. I don't know, C Max. Well, I'm gonna tell you something about that again. People like different forms of music. And white and Mexican folks both like different styles of music. Depends on what you playing. And when you say stuff like that, it depends on what the demographics. But if they're into hip hop, or if they're into trap, or if they're into it depends on what kind of stuff. So hey, you'd be surprised. You know, So I don't typecast based on what people background. You'd be surprised what they bump. You know. And listen, I understand about people's popularity. I mean, in the industry, they push an agenda. I get it, but I don't hear it in her music because of the media, because it's how segregated society is, and plus also the fact that a lot of white artists stole black music. There you go. See, when you educated about the history, country music is form of black music, hip hop, jazz, and they put a name on it and they whitewashed it. So I think that people say, "Hey, we already doing that. Why do I have to go to do something we already do?" So really, it's not our people's fault for that. It's because that the music isn't respected. Let me let you on. Let me go where I'm going with this. If you know anything about funk music and funk bands, right? Ask yourself, Parliament Funkadelic, funk bands, why Ice Cube, Dr. Dre, and etc., Snoop, etc., made all this money by sampling our music, but they don't. But and the thing about it is the people that they sample from aren't paid like that. So gotta make some sense with that. I've heard of Nico case. It's not bad, not bad, not bad, not bad. You know, I think that's one of the things with the music because if growing up, music acts, most of them were inspired by when they're playing, and black artistry was always the standard. Jazz was a standard with the rock and roll was. I want to be Little Richard. Cats want to be Jimi Hendrix. Want to be Chuck Berry. You know. So there were names of people. James Brown, Sam Cooke, Otis Redding. Just saying. The Michael Jackson effect. I can go on. So that's one of the reasons why it is kind of like you think the variety of how people are. So, um, I'm not impressed. That there's a lot of artists doing that today. That doesn't mean much. Let me explain. Chris Brown's been on sound on the same time as her. What you want me to do? And Chris Brown puts out as much material as her. What you want me to do about that? Katy Perry been around almost as long. What you want me to do about that? That don't really mean much anymore. I mean, yes, I will give it in this day and time, but then again, am I impressed? Impressed because of the fact that the music industry ain't the way it was, but she wasn't a threat to the teen trend. It's not like she was like Britney Spears or something that was gonna be or Brandy. So I mean Beyonce got that too. Beyonce got 10 plus years over Taylor. What you want? When you say stuff, understand what you're saying. Because Beyonce got her beat by plus 10 years. And she's defied the teen trend too, because everything you can say about that, you can say about Beyonce. And I think Beyonce's better of the two, but I'm not impressed with neither one of them like that. But I think Beyonce got her beat. Well, I know. The Ravens. Ravens. The coaching and the lack of discipline, the lack of focus, can't complete a game. And when they have big games, they tend to like be predictable. It's always the same old thing with the then they stop playing. They play a few quarters and they stop. You know. Their rhythm and their cadence is off. That's how I look at them. And they can put up numbers, but they can't stop nobody. And I just think that they're just basically playing themselves into another postseason disaster. I don't know what Rockefeller got to do. Beyonce had a career before Jay Z. I don't know what that's got to do with. You got to explain that one to me. You got me on that one because I don't know what that has to do right with that. If you mention them together, that's one thing. I don't know what that's got to do with. No, she was popular before him. She wasn't popular, more popular than him until after they. But she was more popular than him. I mean, she had the hype. Yeah, Britney predated her as far as popularity. I know that. 98 through '02. Crazy in Love helped Beyonce in the first album, did quite. She was, I remember when she first, the live first record, when she got on stage with Prince, she was a little bit nervous. So, I don't know the people that hate her with Destiny Child because Destiny Child was big. Yeah, well, that's because it's the old Donna Ross Michael Jackson thing. You got the lead singer, and if you happen to be the it, then you blow up. I like trophies, and I like the one she did. Um, what's going on with Lizzo, and the Janet one was okay. After that, it was garbage. But trophies was a bop. I was stunned because she actually was spitting on trophies. I thought, okay, because most of the time I just think she corny, but I didn't think much of the record. She did get them thrown out, but that had to do with her and her daddy, and they didn't want to pay that money, and that's obviously, and that's part of being a diva and a lead singer. That's what Donna Ross did with the Supremes. History repeats itself. And she took credits on songs and she took credits on productions, and I know about how Beyonce got down. No, because Cardi B is not somebody that I break my neck listening to. Okay. I mean, I listen to the stuff. It was okay. It just sounded like a sample of Janet going on in the chorus. It didn't really have much going on. And the problem with her is that she tends to regurgitate. She's basically still trying to do stuff that could have came out about 7 years ago. Because to be honest with you, a lot of stuff was not fresh. She's supposed to be at the love of her life right now. She's supposed to be in love with Stephon Diggs. A lot of songs just sound like canned songs that she could have put out like 6, 7 years ago. You call Cap all you want. Cardi B ain't got no business with no 24 songs. She'd be good to make that like 12. She's not the kind of artist that can hold your attention unless she's doing some pushing in the videos, the OnlyFans, and she's doing some body pulling. Ain't nobody gonna sit around and listen to all her whack stuff. A lot of that stuff could have just sat and been, I will give her credit. She's a good example of what you just got to about with Taylor Swift. This woman figured out how to manipulate and use her body and her vibe to sell when she's just kind of ordinary. So I give Cardi that. She has some charisma about her. Yep. Because a lot of times it's the song craft that's missing. And she's not a craft artist. That's not her forte. Because it's more about ringtones and coming up with something quick and snap. It's got nothing to do with any depth. Because if she had the goods, yeah. Um, yeah, it is. That stuff shouldn't have came out. Should either sat on the cutting room floor or she should have put that as an EP about 6, 7 years ago. She missed her boat when she did the remake. When she did that remix with Bruno Mars, she could have probably put like 5 or 6 cuts out then. And no, no, no. I think that some of the stuff was not that good. I didn't like it. I don't think that much of Selena Gomez, so you talking about the wrong person. I ain't think much of it. I told you, Trophies was the one that knocked my shocks off with her because I was like, okay, she had some spit there on that one. I like that one, but I tend to think that she don't do much for me. Nah, I don't even mess with the Nova Twins, but I will check them out. I'll make that a habit. But you're not gonna hear me say no love about no Taylor Swift or no Cardi B. So just so you know, I ain't giving it up for that. Mm-mm. I'll check them out. See what they sound like when I check them out. Yeah, I'll check them out. I'm not expecting much though, but I'll check them out. Yeah, I'm with you on that, Charlene. Ain't a lot I've been excited about. I keep telling people all the time the last artist that I liked in the last 20 years was Bruno Mars. That's the last one. And I like Gaga when she does her good stuff. I know, and I heard a couple folks country. There's a couple folks I listen to here and there. I like the White Stripes, so okay for a minute. Jack White was cool for a moment. Yeah. Well, there's acts that I haven't listened to. It's not like that surprising. I mean, listen, I don't listen to music all the time. It can't happen, you know. But I'm not going to acknowledge my Demi Lovato. We don't. I think about her music career like I think about Jennifer Love Hewitt's music career, or Brian Austin Green's music career. So I'm not going to even talk about that. I ain't touching that. There are artists I don't haven't got to privy to be around because again, yeah, I know about Thomas Rhett. And yeah, I know those cats. In fact, I remember what's that? Well, I remember the Zach Brown band too, but I know about Zach Top. I'm, you know, I like it when people like try to bring up some acts that are new or something like that and trying to throw those on because they know they ain't you ain't gonna go back into the old school and put up against nobody. So we, long as we understand it, I do too, and most of it ain't worth half my time. I feel like Ray Charles about a lot of the music I hear could have been done by some elementary school kids, basically. That's what a lot of it sounds like to me. What did you expect from her? And so now she's trying to be an actress with Spike Lee and Denzel Washington and ASAP Rocky. That's what she got going because that's all she got. She's not there. It's novelty written all over it. Now, geez, I wonder how she got the acting gig. I be cracking up at some of the stuff that goes on that these people got people thinking that they got some talent when you really ain't that good. I am amazed. She not trying to be in the game for a long time. She basically was like thought music, and if you can string on a pole and catch some streams, she's in an era where it's all about a hit song and nothing else. Because nobody gonna sit around and listen to a record of it, unless the record is on OnlyFans. That's about the only way she's gonna sell. She hit with one cut, and more power to her. Ain't nobody got no fake imaginary old Ice Spice gonna be around 20 years. Nobody knew that. But I give her credit. She got a long ways with no talent. I'll give her that. Of course I did. Rufus and Trinae, the one with the Prince wig on, that was hilarious. Anything from about 95 to 98, that was peak prime Jerry. Buddy and me used to watch that every night. Watch that and Jenny Jones. And when MTV had the late night videos, Ice Spice has no talent. She's all about it's all booty. It ain't got nothing to do with no singing or rapping. Ice Spice ain't got no talent. And I know they're trying to clean her up in the Spike Lee movie, and Spike had to shuffle there and grin to get her in. I don't know what that was about. They got compromised. They basically told him you got to put ASAP Rocky and her in there. I don't even know why. I don't even know why. I think that's one of the reasons why Denzel wants out the business so bad of making movies. Because of the caliber of people you get to work with ain't the same tier. Oh yeah, Jerry Springer could have ran for president back then. I mean, he was firing on something. He was entertaining as all get out. That was a fun era of TV. Barry Gordy wins that. And you can have the first two because Barry Gordy runs circles over the other two. Come on now, that's not even a good one. Clive, all he do is sign everybody's leftovers and everybody that's black. And Jimmy Iovine musically had relationships, but he benefited from it. Gordy did what they both did combined. It's not even for discussion. He's the greatest record man ever. He runs a that's like that's not even that isn't even worth. That's like what? Let me think of the equivalent of that. That's almost like asking me if you put hmm. That's like if you asked me if you said Neo's a songwriter, Beyonce a songwriter, and you had Steve Wonder there. Barry Gordy is Steve Wonder, and them two ain't in the same. They're not in the same discoveries. It only looks like that because Clive put himself with female artists and people established, and he signed everybody. And Ivy, they're not in the same episode. Yeah, but that novelty wore itself out. I mean, actually, that was entertaining, but the ones on Maury Povich were with that was the ones that got you. Those are the ones that would get people more. The Maury ones did that one best. Springer's was all about beating you up. L.A. Reid. As far as what? Are you asking me what? As far as business? Or are you talking about the music? Or what's the question? L.A. Reid did the music and the business. Harrell did too. Finding talent? That's a good question. That's a good one there. Because it's a tricky question because I'll tell you why. L.A. Reid was good at sorting out who to could remain, and Andre Harrell took the more gritty approach. Mm, I think I got it. I think if I had to say finding talent and making that thing work long term, I have to kind of give a nod to. I gotta say L.A. Reid because when you think about Tamar Braxton and the sister, and then after Tony was big, that's bananas. And they still hit years later. And then he teamed up with Babyface. Andre Harrell ain't never had quite like, but he did good though. I mean, on the street level, he found some good people, and he definitely, But I gotta give to LA. It's a good question though. It's a lot harder than I thought. It's hard to find the talent. So I'll use that one for future because I never get asked that. Because the thing about Andre Harrell is once he lost everything, she's all right. I heard her. She all right. I like one of the songs I heard. She was all right. She's all right. You ain't mentioned nobody that I'm blown away by though, so you got to go old school if you want to blow me away. You ain't picking up what me and Charlene will tell you. Ain't nobody that we're like, ooh, wow. I mentioned the ones that I last got. I told you, Bruno Mars, Gaga, Kendrick is cool. Depends on which vibe he's coming out. He sucks. He's corny, but he's got a good ear for catchy songs. I'll give him that. Him and Ed Sheeran could have a best of both worlds. I say that. He could actually pull that off. Um, Short term it was Hype Williams. Long term it's F. Gary Gray. And there was a time when Hype couldn't do no wrong, but F. Gary Gray surpassed him though. So like, Hype had the game on lock back then. I don't know who you is, and that's not how I address stuff up in here. I'm a black man, so please, I don't do that. So We got to redo that again. But I know what you're trying to say, though. It's funny how YouTube will censor certain things, but they don't censor certain other things. That's funny. But I know what it means, though. Everybody agreeing about freedom of speech being, I like that. We all in accordance to that. That's no up for discussion. That's a great question, though, Charlene. It really is, though, because a lot of people ain't going to understand it. The hype was bad, though, once upon a time. And then after grade took over from doing movies, and then he did the next leg. So that's actually a good question, though. Okay. Let's get some questions going. Let's see where people's at. See if I got something coming through. The best choreographed Janet Jackson video? I ain't really even thought about it, to be honest with you. But I probably would have to say I like the movement on That's the Way Love Goes. Well, I'm gonna let you in a little secret, Mr. Stevens. Black men I come from address each other's brother, okay? And I don't care. I lived in the hood and we still have respect. And that's what they want you to say. So let me think about the visual. Control was tight as far as the rhythm. Let me break that down with ones you said. Pleasure Principle, that's that one solo thing, and I like the wig. I like that wasn't her body though doing that flip though. Control was cool at the stage with Jam and Lewis and Jerome. That was cool. Rhythm Nation was more uniformic. It and that's almost like saying escapade. The Rhythm Nation is iconic, and I think All Right was tight. That was a good strong routine. I think All Right I think All Right had a strong one. If only when it was done live did I like the flow of the people. So anyway, I don't want that on this site. Like I said before, say brother, I don't be doing that. I've been to the Sheffield town in England. They use the word. Well, that's them. I don't go to a town and I don't talk that way. See, everybody don't talk like that. Know your audience. Know your audience. I'm not going to be derogatory to a man or a woman or a child or anybody or animal. You know your audience. Just because I can hear it and I've listened to and heard it don't mean I'm going to utter it. That's what I'm trying to say. And people say stuff all the time. Does that mean that you got to go along with them? Do you have to agree with everything they say? That's not to sound like a prude or nothing. I just don't really like certain terms that people be using because the level of disrespect is real. And if we don't change the code of language and clean up stuff, then people act like that's a norm. Then you're teaching it to the kids and the people in the foundation, and you're not showing no respect. Everybody don't talk like that. Everybody don't think like that. So it's important that we show it, then people have to make changes. You can change the world any way you want if you put your mind to it. And you also say, hey, I'm not going to succumb to certain aspects. You can do what you want to with that. So I'm not going to tell people what to think or say, but I'm going to say how I get down. Hope that answers your question. So she was associated with Prince too. I think Lazo. Just okay. Nothing special. Just okay. I already know. I grew up like that. I know. I grew up in the hood. I know. I just don't always have to say that sort of stuff. I grew up with the people were saying it forever and a day. But sometimes we just did a head nod. So we just said, "What's up? What's up, player?" All depend. Camo, that wasn't even about that. That was just a flex. That had nothing to do with nothing but a flex. That was just Trump trying to flex. That's all that was. Lizzo got some talent, but she's corny and she's industry based. The Niners should win. If Jacksonville gonna be a little feisty team, but they should. Debbie Allen. That's a good one. What's up, Calvin? What's up? To 3 degrees. This more of an iconic song. I used to live in H Town. I lived in Buffalo. I lived in Hampton, and I spent time in St. Louis. So you ain't talking to somebody who ain't been in the hood. I grew up in segregated places, yo. Okay? I used to walk the streets of Newport News, VA. Lived in chocolate cities. And in Houston, my gramps used to work. We used to have a business in the 6th Ward. So I know about some spots, yo. But it's not something I boast and brag about. Uh, it's cold in Buffalo and people can be colder. I'm not, listen, the 49ers got a better team. You ask me who I think. Let's just call it I've been educated. My skin ain't faded. Well, you sound a little stereotypical, Mr. Stevens. So I touche. Before you start throwing diss tracks, you sound like a stereotypical. You sound more white than anybody because if you up here trying to use slang and using quotes and stuff, that's not how you address folks. You ain't got to prove nothing. You just got to prove that you're human. You got to get rid of your owner. You got to stop hiring male boy head coaches. You got to get rid of Dak Prescott. You got to get you a real wide receiver. You got to get you a front pass rusher. Stop the run. Stop the secondary. You need basically a U-Haul. You suck. Now that we're going to have to agree on because the Cowboys suck. And they suck bad. They are basically battling the Giants, as I said, before the season started, for the basement. And you struggling with the Giants at home. And remember, Russell now is departed. One of the worst winter places. One of them. Because if you were in Alaska or somewhere in Colorado, you may differ, but it's one of them. The 49ers should be able to beat Jacksonville. I think you're a troll, and I think you got to go. I'm wearing my hat, and I don't want to be dealing with no trash, so you got to go. But for the record, I got my hair, but he has to go. For the record, I showed hair, and I got hair, but he has to go. I don't like that kind of tone on here, and I'm not gonna be dealing with someone playing some hood games. We're grown people on here. We're supposed to have a grown folks conversation. I'll be dealing with somebody doing some hood romper room. Purdy, it's the kind of game they got to play better than what they did against Arizona. I'll tell you that. Well, you better go talk to Jerry Jones because I can't save you because you got too many issues. You suck. Your team sucks. Dak didn't even get a chance to pad his numbers. Let me let you in a secret. 11 straight runs. Caleb Williams doing flea flickers. throwing check down passes, hitting a guy on the left side in stride, put 30 burger on your butt. The non-scoring Chicago Bears waxed your behind. Russell Wilson had an out of body on, waxed your behind. I mean, come on now. You suck. Indiana Jones, and I'm gonna tell you something. Yeah, it is. If they can play like they're playing, they could be a problem. No, but he's young and he needs his daddy to give him a guideline. But in his defense, Arizona keeps hiring no happening head coaches. In his defense, Kyler Murray's regressed, and they're just not on the same syncopation. I think he got a chance to be pretty good. He ain't no bust. Come on now, Calvin. This ain't even funny. This ain't even funny. You know good and well Bobby Caldwell gonna wax him on that. Now you could take George Michael overall as an artist, but Bobby Caldwell gonna wax that butt on that song. Come on now. That's not even funny. That's not even funny. And I like George Michael a heck of a lot. That's not funny. You'd have done better putting Careless Whisper up there. And still Bobby Caldwell's gonna win. But that would have been a better choice. Yeah, but Bobby Caldwell got one of them songs that's like a boxer that connects on the nose and knocks your butt out. And you're not getting up from that. There's a big difference. There's a difference between having, you got a great song, then you got a song that's a Hallmark Hall of Fame song. There's a big difference. Bobby Caldwell got a song for the ages. When you got a song for the ages up against a song that was great, that means that you like here, but then their song is still like that. Yeah, that's more like it, but that George Michael, and you do know about that one, Charlene, about Phil Collins One More Night, because he basically jacked the Jacksons. Give me that one more chance. Remember the groove and the rhythm? Give me that one more chance for me. Do. Think about it. He jacked the Jacksons One More Chance from the Victory album. Phil was known for jacking tracks, but because Susudio was 1999. And I like Phil. I like Phil. Phil's type drummer, programmer, but he was a known jacker. If only that was all you need. So let me ask you this. What happened against Chicago with your running game? Got your butt waxed by almost 20 points. That's it. Start Brandy. Gonna have to bench Scissor and I'm gonna have to cut Faith. Because Faith can sing, but Faith ain't had the impact those other two have had. She can write, and she could write for both of them. But those two got her beat as far as with the artistry. Just saying. Because most people with Faith Evans, the first album and some hooks, and that's it. Just saying. See? Charlene just posed my point. And that album is like 30 years old. So there you go. SZA gonna have more of a career. Duran, because I didn't really like neither one of the songs, but Save a Prayer got a little more catchier chorus though. That's not my favorite Howard Jones song. I'm not big on neither one of the songs, but I give Duran the edge on that. Yeah, but I'm gonna tell you a story, Charlene. She and Keith Sweating. We don't sit around thinking that Faith got this album and we're going to start bench cut. Okay, West Side. Yeah. You mentioned Domino. Now you know. There you go. Here we go. Here we go. Back to the gat day. Yay, yay. Of course you gotta start Too Short. Because he runs a run hole over him. I like Forte. He did a Rick James Urban Rhapsody on lead vocal, and he was catchy, but Domino would have to get benched, and Forte got to get cut. Domino's first record was cool. Okay. Sweet Potato Pie. You're so fly. Gotta get a case of that sweet potato pie. I used to have that CD back in the day. Y'all bringing me back. I had that one. Do you know where he was from, though? Do you know where Domino was from? Let me see if y'all can guess where he was from originally. Let me see if y'all paid any attention. Let me see if y'all know where he was from. Who gonna tell me where he? Nope. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. You ain't gonna guess it. And you ain't got time to go to Wikipedia. Nope. No. Skin tight. And I do like too tight a lot, but skin tight. Come on, the Ohio players got to be. Now, close to Mississippi though. St. Louis. He was before Nelly. But he played like he was West Side. And he was a catchy novelty kind of rapper anyway. I mean, it wasn't like Domino was gonna last forever and a day. He was from the Lou. But he had that West Coast preset though. Yeah, when you mentioned Mississippi, I almost thought you were gonna get it. Mm-hmm. When you said Russia, ain't nothing about him say about no Russia. He had a greasy Jerry curl. Ain't got no greasy Jerry curls in Russia. Black coffee was catchy. I like sweet potato pie, but black coffee was catchy. Black coffee, because I like the flow. I know, and I'm think the Vikings are gonna win. They're gonna have to spank Aaron Rodgers behind over like he last year. He threw all them picks against Jacksonville, so just embarrass him again. The Vikings can win. I don't care who's quarterback, and they can win that game. Aaron Rodgers ain't looked that good. Pittsburgh is very lucky. Very lucky. Very. Them in the Patriot game was horrible. They had to have a 60-yard field goal to beat the sorry butt Jets. They're not that good. And he threw half of his touchdowns in that first week. There you go. Got 7. He threw 4 first with 1. He ain't gonna have those kind of games against somebody that put some steam on his butt. I think the Vikings will tear that butt up. I like this one because only somebody from that time period knows how I feel. I'm gonna go with Lindsay. Shock the Monkey. I like the groove on it, but Go Insane. I thought Lindsay was an underrated artist. I did. I thought Lindsay was cool. Because I did like Go Insane. It's a good pick. So we working with time wise. I put this thing on start, bitch. Oh God, come on now. You gotta be kidding. We're going to start Warren G. We're going to bench. Oh God, that's the part that gets tough out of Mac 10 and MC Ren. Who do I bench? Because Warren G's better than both them two put together. Better because he had a better, bigger solo career. I'm going to go with MC Ren. Yeah, Ren was a better rapper than Mac. Mac is more effective in the posse. You know, your Mac 10 is doing stuff behind the scenes. I always thought he was corny though. What's our yeah? Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. He was okay. He was corny. He had a couple okay songs. I think MC Ren. If MC Ren was with anybody but NWA and it'd have to come behind Dre and Cube and Easy, he would have been bigger because I think he had some flow. But when you're in a company of people that deep, you can get lost in the mail. I said, I picked MC Ram. It's just that who he was behind. Sorry, you happen to be behind one of the five greatest rappers ever in Ice Cube. You happen to be behind one of the five greatest hip hop. What's happening? Time hip hop producers and a guy who can rap and Dre. And even Easy had charisma, so it's gonna be tough. I'm going to go with Peter Wolf on that one. China Girl was cute, but I gotta go with Peter Wolf on that one. Now Warren G belongs on there. He better than those two. Come on now. Just for a flow perspective and production. Granted, he's still a second tier on a good day though. And sometimes it dangles because he had a moment and he didn't really get everything out of his system. But there had to be something about his ethic that Dre didn't see to want to work with him because he sure could have had a chance to sign him and he didn't. And let him go to Russell, Def Jam. So I don't know. I like some of his stuff. Mm-hmm. They didn't deal with a lot of political either, though. In all due respect, it wasn't until like when I came of age, like I think with Arsenio and stuff, that was where you saw a lot more. So in all due respect, that wasn't, and they didn't have the kind of situation like this. They got a good chance to if they get healthy and the pitching holds up and they can hit. They got a good chance to. I think that Dave Roberts is probably the best manager going in baseball right now, and he's definitely sitting on a gold mine. And if they freak it, I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, they won 2 rings in the last 4 years, 5 years. So, hey, would I be shocked if they got the jewelry store again? No. Oh, they were thinking about him. Don't get that twisted. That's why I got to stop you on that because you had Ronald Reagan, who was a B-list actor. They was always controlling what was going on in Hollywood. Kennedy's and Marilyn Monroe, all that stuff was political. No. Um. So let me address this the best way I can on this one, Calvin. The better song is All Night Long. The better groove is Nasty Girl. That's the best way I can describe that. Nasty Girl had a cold. Princess said production game was tight. Dinkins is starting Sabrina, and then you're gonna have to throw out Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark gets no love here. I treat her like Taylor Swift. You should know that already. You already know. I ain't giving no Caitlin Clark getting no love. Caitlin Clark is just like Taylor Swift. So don't if you don't want to get your feelings hurt, don't mention no scrubby white chicks that got no that her media creations and over sensationalized, but lacking real talent and depth. Don't do it. If you don't want your feelings hurt and you still cool with me, then don't do it. Don't do it. Cause she's not that good. Caitlin Clark is basically like a white female version of Trey Young. That's what you made me of. I don't. If it wasn't for the 3-point ball, what else she got? I didn't. When did I say that? I said she was good in college and said she was great. And I don't see anything special about her besides some long range shots. There's nothing special about her. Y'all want to impress me? Y'all need to talk about Audra Wilson. Audra Wilson is where it's at. I don't be talking about no wannabes on that don't can't play and one dimensional. Audra Wilson is who y'all should be talking about. Yes, I already know about that. He didn't care because he was done with the company. But we're saying that's what Matola referred to Luther Vandross, okay? Please refrain from using the word though, but yes. They don't like people that are But they're not promoting the game. So there you go. Who she should train with? I don't care who she trains with. She's not going to change what she does because that's what got her brand. You know. Thank you. Caitlyn got to do what she got to do. And you already know how I feel about that. So we ain't even going to go there because everybody knows that, that's a corporate move there. I think I've seen her. I think I have seen her. But I want to talk about Audrey Wilson, though. 4-time league MVP. That's what you need to be talking about. The one that's happening, the best player going in the game. Who moves like the spirits of David Robinson meets Elijah one for a female and to be that smooth with it. That's very impressive. I'm just keeping it 100. No, because look at Brittany Griner. But Brittany Griner showed that you can look ugly and have bass in your voice and look like Tim Duncan with a perm or dreads and get over. So, hey, there you go. Most people are way better than Caitlin Clark, but Caitlin Clark is like Taylor Swift for WNBA. They like that elementary school teacher playing the guitar and say, "Hey, you want to be the face of the league?" And they'll go, "Okay." It's got nothing to do with basketball. It's got nothing to do with basketball. Yep. Not much because their defense, they're gonna play up a little bit, but he's sure gonna have growing pains. And if Dart was that good to come off and do that, then the Giants are gonna, they're not that good. Brianna Stewart is a very talented player. I like Brianna. I ain't got no expectation for the Giants, so they're basically right now they're playing with house money. Hope the kid got something. Hope he don't look like DeVito. And if he sucks, they stuck with Russell and Jameson. So that means you know what that means. You're in the Arch Manning Bowl. So we'll see. I told you before I got the Giants at most winning 6 or 7 games if they're lucky. But I don't have a lot much going for them. I don't like their coach. I think they're a dumb team already. Don't forget about the Texans because they can't score 20 points, so you got to put them in there. The Raiders aren't that good. Then you forgot about the Patriots. They suck. You forgot about the Jets. They suck. Come on now. You got to do better than that. There's a lot of Arch Manning sweepstakes going. The Panthers, don't let that one game fool you. I don't think they're going to be playing like that every week. There's a lot of bad teams. Oh, they're doing it for the Arch Manning. The Saints suck. The Jets suck. The Giants suck. The Texans suck. They can't score 20 points. Titans are always horrible. I don't know why you made me have to do this because I like Whitney way better than I do Mariah. However, on this particular one, I got to give it to Mariah because Vision of Love was one of the best songs that she did, and she sounded good on that song. And I can't stand that because Whitney smashes her 15 different ways. Now, Cam Ward is doing the best he can, but they suck, though. They suck. I mean, there's a lot of garbage teams in the NFL. That's just a fact. It's a big old pile on of garbage, especially in the AFC. The guitar parts are cool, but I just think that Mariah, it's just like the song just hits a bit better. It sounded too, it sounded too poppy and corny for me. What on the Xbox? I got one friend of mine who's a Panthers fan, and I know you not him, so you don't want to say something crazy like that too. Okay. See, let's get some more conversation going. I got about 20 more minutes, so let's make it happen. Panthers ain't winning no Super Bowl, but I like people with good humor though. You is funny though. If nothing else, I like good humor. What has not been done so far in music? Um, Appreciation and to stop breaking down the segregation. The actual truth. Yeah, well, that's cool. High school football is good. Joe Namath couldn't come back. That's a funny story. They'd be lucky if they win 6 more games the rest of the season. They done found 3 different ways to lose games. They blew a game against Pittsburgh. They got beat by Buffalo bad, and then they blew a game against Tampa Bay when they looked like they stole it. They suck. They got him and Jonathan Taylor looking good. If they don't turn the ball over, they stay feisty. That division is kind of soft. They might could do something. That's why Drabel looks like an idiot with the Giants right now. I ain't saying they not getting past Buffalo, so stop that now. I ain't say that. I said they doing good for what they doing. They not no Super Bowl 10 team. Just to be close to you. And I love that Sprinter song because this is like a 1 and 1A. You couldn't go wrong, but I gotta go to the Commodores. Lionel had that country pimp preacher going, "Oh girl, been through so many changes in my life. And I thought my jagged edges." Man, that was back in the day when everybody was doing a monologue. He sounded like a country preacher. Oh, then you've been through my day. But I do like that Spanish song a lot. It's tough too. That's two of my favorites. That's why I don't like comparing a group and a band because it's tough. But I've been listening to the Commodores this week too a lot too. So his book is out, and I'm a huge. Lionel's one of my favorites. Yeah, Madonna's was because the video for Thriller, not the song. Notice what you're saying, and there's a difference between the video and the song. That's right. Michael Jackson, but Madonna has some big songs. But Michael Jackson's music is aged far better. That's not even for discussion. Shh. I mean, he had something from different eras that Madonna would tell you Michael Jackson. Yeah, it's not even close. When Madonna was in her peak and her prime, I heard of them. It's okay. I heard the name. I think I heard something. I do remember seeing the name. She's the queen of mediocrity. She has some great songs, but she didn't have Whitney's talent. Let's not kid ourselves. She can't call nobody mediocre because if she had to be up there butt ball naked and sing next to Whitney to get a loaf of bread, she'd starve stiff. Come on now. She may not have liked the style of music Whitney did, but Whitney ran circles around her. So I don't respond to Madonna talking about people when she's not that good to talk about nobody. But I remember that mess. I miss when artists used to pop their gums too. They don't do that no more. PYT, come on now, you gotta do a better Prince song than that. Pink Cashmere was good in Prince world, but in the general world, you can still hear PYT right now, still bumping both versions. I like It's Only Love a lot, but I gotta go with Wham. But I like It's Only Love. Madonna had a sound and she had some songs, and I'll give her that for what have you. But Whitney was a lifetime. Whitney could take your stuff, flip it, and then she could take something and just. Madonna can't even have no conversation with Whitney because Whitney did something that a black woman wasn't even doing, and she sold crazy ruckus at a time when it wasn't. Don't even get me started. It's just not even up for discussion. But Madonna's trying to talk. So no, PYT gonna get that. Both versions too, because I'll take the slow down PYT over Pink Cashmere. I like Pink Cashmere, but I don't like it as like, you know, because it sounded just like almost like an offshoot of The Question of You and other things Prince did. And that's the only problem with his slow cuts. But I like the feeling that he sung with it, but it's not touching PYT. Not for me. Okay. Sure. Oh god, that's probably my favorite Patti LaBelle song, but I gotta still take Denise Williams because Silly was just sick. That's tough. Well, not even because they lip sync, but simply read because Money Too Tight was a catchy groove. I like, we're talking that money, money. That's not my favorite Milli Vanilli song either. I didn't really care if I'm going to miss you. Girl, the music, the feeling was over. Girl, I'm going to miss you. It's a tragedy for me to see. Now, Money Too Tight was a jam, though. Money Too Tight to mention. Talking about that money, money. Because Mick Hucknall was a singing cat. That was a tough one, Calvin. That one there was. That was a catchy song. They had some catchy songs. Blame it on the rain, sunshine and rain. All right. I got 10 more minutes. Now what? I got 10 more minutes, and I will be back tomorrow. I've been on for almost 2 hours, so 10 more minutes. No comment. If she did it like she did Earth, Wind, and Fire September, then. Mm, mm, mm. Don't forget my number. Boom, boom, boom. You're bringing it back. I'm talking about baby. Oh, okay, now we're getting into some yacht rock classics. Robbie Dupree. Because that was the best Michael McDonald song that Michael McDonald didn't sing on. And mustache. Why don't we steal away? Boom. I don't even know what it means. Into the night. And I like the Eddie Money, 2 Tickets to Paradise, but I like Baby Hold On better though. 2 Tickets to Paradise. Fast Car. Because it was storytelling. And you know she's a Jackson related to Michael too and Janet by cousin, but not because of that, but Fast Car. I like Fast Car better. Don't Worry Be Happy was a good song though. It was catchy, but Fast Car for me though. All right. And I'm gonna leave this show on. This will be on the rebroadcast too, by the way, so people get a chance to watch it. And it'll be on. I'm gonna be on for about 9 more minutes. And I'm anticipating being on tomorrow. So in case anybody want to know, we run it back tomorrow. Questionable on Sunday, but definitely tomorrow. As I tell everybody, I like to do it like 3 or 4 streams, 3 streams in a week. But if I'm getting enough reaction, I might make it up to 4. All depends if I get the buzz. So spread the word. Ring the alarm. And they both suck though. So, but Beyonce, you're not getting in that mess. I know. Shake it out. I ain't capping nothing because I don't like neither one. But Beyonce by default. You don't respect the fact that people don't like Taylor Swift, yo. Not like that. Not on people. She doesn't do nothing for me. Poison. Every rose has its thorn. I like that song. That Whitesnake song was catchy in parts. I'm wasting my time. They were a double, triple junior whopper version of Led Zeppelin, though, without the soul. No caps. Okay. Just so you know, I got about 5 more minutes. Okay. Ooh, this is a good one. Poison, though. Because the club joint, and I do love Around the Way Girl. That's one of my favorite LL songs. But Poison, girl, I must warn you. I mean, the song was infectious. Play that stuff for the club back in 1990, you would never get off the floor. Yeah, I don't know. Dance floor. Because electricity sounded kind of hokey. I liked them in parts, but some of that stuff was kind of dinky. Electricity. It was catchy at the time, but Zap dance floor was funkier. Jay Z and I like Biggie far better, but Hypnotize was kind of hokey. sing along. Whereas girls made me laugh, and I was like, and I don't even like Jay-Z, so he had to come up with something that I like, and I'll never take him over anything over Biggie, but I like girls better. I actually walk down the street singing that. I like girls that I adore. Put your name on the back, cause I'm black, that I hate you, cause it's your boy Hova. Pop and lock, cause you had to do more with pop and the lock. And Running Man was tight when you had the right clothes. It's like one of them things. If you drip right, then it looks even greater. But pop and the lock, and that's still cold. Yeah, I'll give you that. But Andre never had what Chris Carter had either. You get to put alongside Randy Moss. They should respect one another on that. Because Andre Johnson, had he been with the Patriots, he used to talk with Matt Schultz, who sucked. He used to throw picks all the time. Even Michael Irvin was talking about the 5 greatest receivers, and he mentioned Andre Johnson. So that's an FYI. He was on Steven Jack, All That Smoke. So it's funny you mentioned that. Chris Carter was bad, but he a bit full of himself as a commentator now. But Andre Johnson is one of the unsung guys. I like that you mentioned that. Give yourself applause for that one. So anyway. I love Houdini more. They were my favorite group growing up, but you picked the wrong song. Run DMC, Can You Rock It Like This? And it's yeah. And I did like Houdini more, but DMC got the better song there. What about him? He's the top 5 or 6 player ever, probably receiver. I mean, you can make a case for him 6 to 10. Okay. Okay. Anyway, I got a couple minutes before I go. So for me, it's peak because longevity is good, but the problem with longevity is that sometimes that's all cats be riding off of, and they ain't got nothing else. It's like if you talk about LeBron James, right? Should give me the peak over the longevity. Give him 4 years in Miami, and then that first 2 include that because the other stuff you stat padding. Longevity is good if got balance and you're still good and you're effective. But peak, sometimes peak is because like let me give you an example. Bobby Brown's peak moves me more than Chris Brown and Usher put together. His peak moved me more. Tevin Campbell's peak moved me more. So yeah, you be around 80 years later, but hey, there's some full fight that we always go by because peak is what we remember. That's like your prime and your peak. Longevity is good, but make it count. Don't look like you just padding. Only in my dreams. Everything with Debbie Gibson over Tiffany. And Debbie Gibson still is cool to this day. But they're both physical sports. But peak. I'm going with Kansas City. I think they'll win. Baltimore ain't show me nothing. I haven't been impressed with none of their games. Even the game against Cleveland, that's what Allen Iverson used to say, and then he played it. He says very physical. Because you get sprained ankle, you can hurt yourself through this trick. Baltimore got to play their best game. If they lose this game, their season's over. So, okay, I'm gonna get ready to go. I will be back tomorrow. Appreciate everyone that came through. Thank you all so much. Yeah, do feel that way. Thank you, everybody. I'll be back tomorrow around the same time. So looking forward to it. Before I go, I answer before I go. Uh, I'm going with my divinals on that one. All right, I'm out. Peace. Stay safe. Stay blessed. Stay woke. Stay free. The divinals on one. Stay care. Look forward to seeing everybody. See ya.